With this resurgence of Beyblade content, it's easy for a new viewer to come in and come to the conclusion that every character in the show is a Black Air Force deity titan. And that's simply just not the case. There are a lot of fraudulent ass niggas in the Beyblade Metal Saga that just don't deserve the title. And today, we're going to be counting down the most fraudulent bladers to the most honest. Descending. Who deserves the title of number one blader? Who deserve their status within the fandom? We're going to be dissecting those. And number one is obviously Masamune, but let's fucking see. So exactly what criteria goes into this ranking? I'm using win-loss record, the character's personality, and their outlook on Beyblade. I chose 3 because you can win battles and still be a fraud. You can be an honest blader and still be a fraud. And even if you win consistently and do it with integrity, if you don't fuck with Beyblade as a sport, you could still be a fraud. One of these criteria, though, can overrule all the others if it's that prominent, but I'm not going to be relying on the one criteria rule because I want to factor all 3 of these into the meat and potatoes of being an honest blader. Or whatever the fuck. Are you a non-fraudulent blader? We will see. Submit your polls down below. Now, the pecking order. Let's get first things first out of the way. We already know who's number 1. This bitch ass, fraudulent ass, receding hairline ass nigga, Masamune, no style, no grace, no wins on his face, 1 to 8, doesn't fucking win the world championships a single time after the Chaoshin battle, and guess what? The tag team doesn't count because he admits that he needed Jinga's help to beat Nile. This motherfucker says he's the number 1 blader, and he might very well be the number 1 blader at being a fraudulent ass nigga. Now, getting that out of the way, we have characters on the bottom here that they're just 0G characters. I don't care. I don't want to rewatch it. I just don't care. Anyway, we're gonna be ranking fraudulent bladers from number 1 to number 86, or how many fucking characters are on this list. Ian is a grade A fraud. See, grade A fraud basically means that the show treats the characters presented like a fraud. They are canonically not good at Beyblading. They are canonically not good sports. They don't play the game right. They don't have blader's spirit, and the show clearly treats them like that. So they're standard grade A frauds. Ian and pretty much all the Garcias fit this exact role. Actually, I'm gonna put Argo as disappointment because he's not exactly a grade A fraud in the sense that he actually does have skill. He almost beat Tsubasa in a fair one-on-one battle, but he is a still, sniveling piece of shit. So he's not exactly honest. He goes in disappointment tier, a little bit better than the other Garcias, but whatever. Selene, I'm sorry, you are bad as fuck, but you are going in grade A fraud. Let's see. Where's that little kid? Where's that little fucker? Where are you? Where's Enzo? Oh, this bitch is going in grade A fraud. Alexi, you are going in disappointment because even though you are an honest blader, you sided with Russia, who were, at least in Japan's round of the World Championships, you guys were sniveling ass niggas. You go in disappointment. Lara goes in disappointment. The astronaut looking nigga goes in disappointment. Where are you? He goes in disappointment. And Anton goes in grade A fraud because he's the textbook definition of a canonical fraud. Who else is here? I guess we're just going from okay, Damien is a disappointment. Not exactly grade A fraud because he did have skill behind him. He almost beat Jenga and he almost beat Kiyoya and he fucking washed Julian and his entire team. But his power was granted to him. He didn't train for it. He basically achieved max level hacks, and that's because he's genetically I guess the peak of the arrangement system. He just had god genes. So you're not that guy, but also you do have a couple wins under your belt, so you get a disappointment tier. Dr. Ziggurat has no fucking skill. I think Zio one-shotted him, actually. And he's a grade A American, so he's a grade A fraud. Forgot to put this Orochi nigga in Who Are You tier. And this guy. I do not care about Zero G characters. And Bahu Shao. This nigga is a grade A fraud. This nigga's a grade A fraud. The one exception for Zero G. This bitch right here. Honestly, I should put Jinga in max level fraud for falling for the stupid ass trick that this kid, said on him. Especially because during Zero G's time, Jinga's a grown ass man and should probably know better. But I'll be lenient on you, Jinga Hagane. I like you. Blader DJ. Grade A fraud. The show treats him like a joke. He's a joke. We like him though. He's sick. This bitch is a grade A fraud. There are a lot of frauds in this show. There are a lot of niggas in this show. It's like the show knows that these guys are not with the sauce and have to cheat to win. Speaking of which, Tetsuya, where is this bitch at? Is he even on this list or am I tripping? I don't know who the fuck this guy is. Still, I'll find Chris. I want to put Chris in max fraud so much, but that's just because I don't like him. I think Chris is a sauceless ass nigga. You are average. I don't think Chris deserves to be a 4-season Blader. You're not that guy, pal. You're not that fucking guy. But also, he does have genuine power. And he does learn Blader's spirit as time goes on. Forgot about this nigga? I don't care. Julian Concern. You are a max level fraud. Because not only does Julian not really have Blader's spirit, because he thinks of Beyblade as kind of like a trivial ass thing. It's like, well, I've won every other competition on planet Earth. Beyblade is just the next step in me achieving my empire. Like, okay, my nigga, like, we get it. You're Italian. Also, he's just like, he gets outclassed pretty heavily. In the Festival of Warriors, he was shown to be like that guy because he one-shotted Gang Gang Galaxy. Then he gets beaten by Jenga. Then he gets beaten by Damien and his entire fucking team. And he gets washed by Deshayan. So, and he just becomes irrelevant for the rest of the series. You are right next to Masamune as being a max level fraud. A little bit lower, if we're going to consider this tier list order, because Masamune, see, I have no like smart reasoning for this. Masamune is just like fraud aura. The nigga tried to claim he beat Jinga. It was like the 14th battle in a row, and it was a fluke. It's like, okay, bitch. Phoenix goes in worth it. No, he goes in mostly worth it. Because although Phoenix himself has the sauce, and you can tell he trained relentlessly to master Burn Fireblaze, he had a really shitty showing with Storm Pegasus when he died. Like, really uncharacteristically weak showing from Phoenix, from Rio. So, you go in mostly worth it. I still fuck with you, Phoenix. Jinga also still mostly worth it because even though he trains his ass off, he still has a given Bay. He still has a Messiah Beyblade. His Beyblade is still like the embodiment of fucking goodness and friendship. It's like the Jesus Christ Beyblade as opposed to El Drago's Lucifer. So like you're kind of stacked with, like, you literally have the most powerful Beyblade on Earth. It doesn't matter how hard you train. You're going to be a little bit carried. Just a little bit. Speaking of training, Kiyoya, fully worth it. He had a stock Beyblade. He trained that shit to be godlike. Same thing with Tsubasa. He trained himself to be a legendary Blader tier Blader while still having a stock Eagle Beyblade. Kenta, worth it. He was the kid that everybody picked on. He had no sauce. He used to be bullied. Ryuga didn't even give a fuck about him. He didn't even know his name. He earned the status of legendary Blader through his willpower. Ryuga, same tier as Jinga, mostly worth it. A little bit more worth it because Ryuga had to master the dark power in order to fully claim El Drago as his own. But also, you have a Satan Beyblade, buddy. You're not getting off that easy. Whales, I don't know. See, some of these guys I just don't know. That's why I'm picking and choosing. Faust, are we counting this as Toby? Or are we counting this as Faust? Because if it's Toby, he's alright. He's alright. If we're counting this as Faust, he is kind of max level fraud. But this picture is Faust, so I'm going to count it as Faust. This nigga's a max level fraud because he lost to Masamune and Zio through the power of friendship, which is honestly kind of based, but also you have the power of Pegasus and Eldrago combined, and you were literally created to be the strongest blader on Earth, to the point where you nuked an island with ease and you still lost. So you're not as much as that guy as you think you are. Get packed. Max level fraud. These Indian niggas, I don't care. Well, these guys are kind of frauds. I'm gonna put them as average because they are they're decent bladers, but also they fought Kiyoya and Nile, so it's like you're going to lose. Yuki, max level fraud. He doesn't win. I don't know why you're a legendary blader. I feel like even Benkei could kick your ass with ease, and he's a little whiny bitch. This is personal. This is just like complete personal bias. Fuck Yuki. Tiffy, you're cool. You're cool. He's cool. Hoikuto is worth it. He doesn't blade, but also he's a cute little dog that talks and he has infinite wisdom. I like you. This nigga from Team Desert Blaze, you're okay. Same boat as the Indian niggas. Like, they kind of just existed to get washed, but also they seemed like competent bladers. So you can't really like blame them that much for being washed. It's just that they had to fight against a level 100 boss. Are you a max level fraud? I'm thinking this little nigga is a max level fraud because he was shown to beat Jenga and force Kiyoya out of the survival battle, but also you don't win and you don't have sauce. After season 2, you just become a fucking joke. So I'm like writing the line, does this guy have sauce or does he not? But for right now, he's going to max level fraud. Benkei's not even a fraud. He's just kind of a fucking disappointment because this guy hasn't evolved a bit since Fusion. And I feel like he deserved more. Honestly, like, I don't even want to make fun of the guy. I feel like Benkei genuinely deserved more. He showed potential, like when he fought Kiyoya and used his maximum stampede. He had the golden encrusted armor shit and he never used it again. Okay, that's just the writers fucking him over. Same thing with Hikaru. She had potential. She was a bad bitch. The writers had to write her out of the show. Just like, you know what? Let's match her against Ryuga and have him use his fucking dark move against her for no reason. He could probably beat her by one-tapping, but let's make him shoot a nuclear bomb at a fucking ant. You are written out of the show for good. I feel like the idea that a character quitting Beyblade for good as a result of Ryuga's tyranny had potential, but I feel like the way that they did it just was an excuse to write Hikaru out of the show because she really doesn't do jack shit for the rest of the show, and I think that's kind of a disappointment. Kumade brothers, I don't care. These guys, like, whatever. This guy gets it. This guy's worth it. Deshine's worth it. He trains relentlessly. He's that guy. Rago. Rago, honestly, I think Rago's kind of a disappointment because we don't know anything about him. He has no personality besides saying the word worms. I mean, he folded Ryuga, which is sauce, but also he has the power of every legendary blader combined in all the bladers that they fought and all the bladers that they fought. So he basically has the power of every blader on the goddamn planet. And I think that because Rago has no personality or no indication of Black Air Force energy as a character, that's kind of unearned. I feel like if Diablo Nemesis was owned by a Damien-esque character or a Ryuga Season 1-esque character with like a lot of vitriol and like overt hatred and like Professor Zoom like ass hatred, right? They hate the main characters. They'll do anything to make their lives a living hell. That would be great. Rago is just there, and he's just there, right? Pluto has more of a reason to wield Nemesis, and yet he doesn't. And I feel like that's kind of a disappointment considering that Rago is the final boss of the final season of the goddamn show. Because as we know, Zero G doesn't exist. Speaking of Pluto, he's also a disappointment. Just reverse the reasons. Pluto should have wielded Nemesis. I mean, Pluto is literally the descendant of Hades himself. He should have wielded that shit. That was a lot more personal. But yeah, whatever. Sora's a max level fraud. Nigga, you wield Pegasus. You showed up for like 2 episodes and you were whatever, and you were, it's like, I don't know. I don't understand why they would create a blader that wields Pegasus, another Pegasus, and not really expound upon his lore, and just have him like be a nigga that's barely higher than normal tier. I don't know. Sora, you're up there as being a max level fraud, buddy. Hyoma. See, I want to like Hyoma so much because he doesn't have a reason to be a max level fraud. He was just completely outclassed by the meta. Same thing with Benkei, same thing with Hikaru. Just completely outclassed by power scaling to the point where he gets just anally destroyed by the end of season 1. And he just doesn't battle again. Zio is max level fraud. Fuck Zio. Season 2 Metal Master Zio. Fuck Zio. And I will not elaborate. Teru, whatever. Dynamis. Is Dynamis a fraud? He did a little side switching. Is Dynamis a fraud? Morally, I think it's because I forgot what happened. It's been a while since I watched Metal Fury. I just know that he turns evil for like a split second, and Kyoyo knocks the sense into him. I forgot what the context behind that was. I'm going to put you an average just because I don't remember your lore. You get off scot-free, buddy. I can't say that for a lot of the cast. Speaking of a lot of the cast that won't get off scot-free, Reiji is a fucking disappointment. I can't exactly put him in any of the official fraud tiers because he did his job. I think he was literally raised by Dark Nebula to study Jinga and make sure that Jinga's life ends up being a disappointment. But he himself ended up being a disappointment when Jinga beat him. Granted, that battle was really sick, and I think it's my top 5 in Metal Fusion because it shows how much of a goat Jinga is. But also, like, that was his one purpose, and he failed. So you're kind of a disappointment, buddy. Nile is A-okay by me. Madoka's worth it. She doesn't blade, obviously, but, like, she's always been by the gang's side since day one. Even in the most dire situations, and she's just like a stand-up nigga. She's just a goat, you know. There's nothing you can really say. Also, she's not even in the manga that much. I don't think she's like ever in the manga and has a prominent role. This was strictly for the anime. They strictly, made Madoka a goat just for the anime, and also Madoka is voiced by a black woman. So, she goes in worth it tier because I like to see some representation. Tobio, Captain Capri, kind of a disappointment. He had potential. I really like the sniper aspect of Beyblade, tactical nuke incoming type shit, COD type shit. I think that has potential to be a really cool mechanic or like a really cool character trait in Beyblade. He's the only one who really does it, and he gets outclassed by Ryuga, and he just doesn't, he doesn't battle again. And then he shows up in the movie, and then he gets bodied by fucking Helios, and then he just doesn't show up again. I'm going insane. Tobio, I'm sorry, bro. I really want to put you higher, but the writers treated you like shit. Same thing with Rutaro. Have you seen Rutaro in the manga? He looks like a goddamn Disney character. Anyway, Rutaro, same shit. I really like the good luck come my way. Good luck come my way. I fuck with that. I fuck with the rituals. I fuck with the magic. The writers did him dirty. Granted, his battle against Jenga was really goated. I love that battle because, again, just like Reggie, it shows how much of a resolve Jenga has when it comes to Beyblading. And he just powers through it like a fucking goat. And I think that's awesome. But, yeah, Rutaro got bitched by the writers. So, he's kind of a disappointment. These two guys, these Gemios-ass dudes, kind of a grade A fraud. 2 people in 1 battle and you still can't win? Pack it up, buddy. You're gone. Mei, disappointment. She didn't. More like average, because I don't really have any strong feelings towards Mei. She kind of shows up and she loses a lot, and that's it. But also, I don't really care about her character that much, so it's like whatever. You exist. Jack goes in. He was fine. I mean, like technically, he's a disappointment because of the arrangement system hacks, but also he recovered as far as I remember. In the Destroyer Dome arc, he's just like a regular ass dude, and I like that. And he still keeps Befall, and he's still like somewhat formidable, and I like that. So you're just average. Aguma. I think Aguma having a vendetta against Balin Temple is a raw concept, but I think he changed to the good side a little too easily considering Balin Fist's history, but also him like I feel like he should have been an antagonist for just a little bit longer because the way he showed up in Merc to Jenga was just like a showcase of true force that I feel like should have been like more, it should have been more resonant. But you're average. You're fine. Wales and Sophie, it's like whatever, you're okay. Rio, same shit as Phoenix, same guy. Klaus is that guy. Klaus is that nigga. This is the power found at the limit's end type shit. The way that he literally on his last breath folded Masamune just proves, it just shows how much of a fraudulent ass bitch Masamune is to let that happen. But it also shows how much of a goat Klaus is to allow that to happen. To let that happen on his own volition. He's the guy. Verrières, our king, he's mostly worth it. I mean, he has a god Bay, pretty OP Bay, but also he was literally so strong that his village banished him, which I think is pretty saucy, and he proves it, because he actually gives even Ryuga a run for his money, which, you know, is admittedly a pretty kind of impossible feat considering the goddamn characters on this list. Anyway, Demore, you're that guy. His Beyblade is weak as fuck. I think he's mostly worth it. His Beyblade is weak as fuck, but, you know, his real strength comes from his analytics, his eyes, his strategy, and I like that because even though both he and Benkei combined are weak as fuck, they almost beat Tsubasa and force Tsubasa to go dark, which I think shows vigor, and it shows, like, sauce. I feel like if Demore and Kiyoya teamed up, with Kiyoya's strength and ferocity and Demore's foresight, they could truly be a force to be reckoned with, and they could murk. They would just absolutely wash. Chaoshin, he used to be a fraud because he wasn't really that guy. Like, he didn't really train. He wasn't really serious about it. But after the loss to Masamune, he kind of locked in, and he still gets bitches. So he's a good family. Like, he's achieved that balance. You're good in my book. Chiyun, he trains relentlessly, but also I don't have many strong feelings towards the guy. So, and I like his dedication to the Shine, but like, that's basically it out of all that. Actually, the way that he taunted Tsubasa during the first round of the World Championships was pretty Black Air Force adjacent. That was pretty fucking saucy and pretty ballsy on Chiyun's part. So you going worth it. That's something that can't be said by a fraud. Like, he really backed up his words because he was folding Tsubasa when he said Tsubasa could not win against Kiyoya. Like, he was like, he was backing that shit up. The last and final character is Bao. He is a textbook fraud because although he's strong, he was a red herring because of the fact that the real legendary blader from China was Aguma, and Bao was kind of the fake out. But I still fuck with Bao a little bit. Like, he doesn't have that much personality, but I think he's fine. Like, he's okay. I might just put you in disappointment. So, in terms of the rankings for who was the most fraudulent to who was the most worthy of their wins and worthy of their status, I think that it's pretty fair. We all know that Masamune, Zio, this kid, forgot his name already, are fucking fraudulent little ass bitches. But and we all know that Tsubasa, Kiyoya, Kenta are like up there, right? I want to rank Jinga and Ryuga higher because they put in that work, but also they have Messiah and Satan Beyblades. So like, I can't really give them the full honesty, but they are still very much up there. Who's a fraud? Who's not? We all know that Julian is a fraudulent ass bitch. We all know that Klaus puts in the work. There's no, I mean, I can't really say anything else. Like, this is the list. This is my personal list of who was the most fraudulent Beyblade character and who was the most honest Beyblade character. And I know for a fact that you disagree with me. So state your opinions in the comments below. And if this video gets to 200 likes, I am going to redesign, that's right, I'm going to redesign Beyblade characters in my art style 10 years later. What would happen after Metal Fury, after these niggas grew up? Where would they be? Jinga, Ryuga, and Kyoya. Where's their status? I've already recorded the video. I'm going to do the drawings as soon as we speak. And it's going to be a lit ass time, but that video can only come out once this video gets 200 likes. I know that's a tall order considering my subscriber count, but the Beyblade fandom has been shown to be dedicated within the last few months. I think we can do it. As long as you like this content, then what more can I say? Okay, so now that I've ranked these fraudulent ass niggas, I'm going to go to the top max level fraud tier and kind of rewrite the series in a way to make them not as fraudulent. Easy dubs, Masamune number 1. How would I make Masamune not a fraud? I would have him win against, I would give him a draw against Klaus. I'd still have him lose against Nile badly, because I feel like that's a character defining moment. But for Klaus, I would have him tie against Klaus. In terms of how that would factor into the rest of the world championships, I don't know. I didn't think that far, okay? I'm just focusing on my receding hairline nigga Masamune, because he's the one that needs help. I would give Masamune the draw against Klaus, and I would give Masamune the win against the Zio at some other kind of cost. Maybe that kind of cost is that he can't battle again. Maybe the other kind of cost is that he and Zio are forever split and not friends forever. Something. I feel like Masamune needed the win in terms of a battle, but he needed the loss in terms of his character in order to further incentivize trying to rescue Toby. I feel like, I want Masamune to lose against Chris, but I don't want him to lose against Chris, because Chris is a lame ass nigga and he doesn't have anything to him, and he's boring. I don't know exactly how I would change the Chris battle besides just not having it be Chris. I don't fucking know. It's just like, in general, a lot of Masamune's losses are warranted, but he is kind of the punching bag for the team. And I don't like that, because with Jinga, it's like, if Jinga loses, okay, this threat is serious as fuck. If Kyoya loses, this threat is serious. If Tsubasa loses, this threat is serious. If Masamune loses, it's like, oh, okay. Like the enemy has sauce, but also it's Masamune Kadoya, so whatever. Same shit with you, basically. The way I would make you less fraudulent is to just give him more wins. Like, I don't know. Like, that's basically it. Julian is a max tier fraudulent ass nigga, because he doesn't really care about Beyblade as a sport. But also, I wouldn't change any of his battles. I think all of his losses are warranted because of their character building. Kind of like a reality check, a wake-up call. Each one is a step in that. First, Jenga, giving him the realization that, like, he can't have everything given to him on a silver platter. Some niggas will just work harder and win because of that. With Damien, it's like, that was basically just bullying, honestly. And with the Shine, it's like, just because you lost your empire does not mean it's over, and does not mean that you should give yourself to the enemy. I think that's a very character building moment. I would keep all of his battles. I would make him lose all of his battles just like as they were in series. So he kind of just stays a fraudulent ass nigga, but that's the point of his character. He's a foil to all the bladers that actually give a shit. Yuki, same thing. I would make him lose all of his battles, not for any like character defining reason. I just think he's a lame ass nigga. If anything, I would just write him out of the story. Hey, give that shit to Kenta. He already has a star fragment. Give that shit to, I don't know. What is Anubius' star sign? I don't know. I don't care. Write him out of the story. He's a lame ass nigga. Sora, I would actually give him more. I would write him into the story more. Because he's only in like 2 episodes. Make him part of Gang Gang Galaxy. Do something. Like, maybe he gets one of the legendary star fragments. Something. Maybe he's in Battle Bladers. Tetsuya did not deserve to be in fucking Battle Bladers. It's just like there are very various opportunities that he has the chance to be in the story in. It's just like he's not, which is weird to me, and it wouldn't really affect me. Aside from the fact that he's a wielder of a Pegasus, where did you get that shit from? Why do you claim to be Jinga's apprentice? He has very interesting lore behind him, but there's not much beyond the surface, and I want the show to dig deeper beyond the fucking surface. Zio, he's fine in Metal Fury. I just thought he was a little bitch in Metal Masters. I'd keep him the same. Have him lose or draw against Masamune, but have him take something from Masamune that Masamune can't get back. Something figurative, friendship, his ability to save Zio, something. I just think something like some kind of character detriment would work with Zio. I just realized that all of Team Dungeon is in max level fraud for different reasons. Speaking of Toby, Faust, he served his purpose in the story. I really don't care. Like, whatever. Like, then they got lost. He's the final boss. He's Sephiroth, and Jenga is fucking Cloud. Like, he's... okay. Like, yeah. And he's cool in Metal Fury. I think Toby's chill as fucking Metal Fury. No changes needed. A lot less changes to this top list than I initially anticipated. I think more of the changes to the story I would make in disappointment tier, because characters like Hikaru needed way more. Rago needed to actually be a fucking villain with personality. I feel like Captain Capri and Rudero could have had some more side adventures, something. Most of my gripes go in the disappointment tier and the average tier. These Indian niggas serve their purpose, but it would be cool to see them more. Same with Desert Blaze. They kind of just existed to be fodder. If the series extended for another season, not named Shogun Steel /Zero G, I would really want to see more of the side characters and what they're actually fucking doing. But with that being said, I think the max level fraud list is justified, but it doesn't necessarily need a lot of change within the story in order for them to not be frauds. A lot of them serve their purpose. I feel like half of them serve their purpose in the story, like Faust and Julian, and I guess Yuki, but he's also just a bitch ass nigga, so he might, like, I'll just write him out, but I guess he serves his purpose. Like, I don't know. But Masamune, you, Sora could benefit from a little stronger writing. That's the end of that. I mean, I feel like it's pretty self-explanatory. And I feel like if this series was ever rebooted, specifically the Metal Saga, those are the characters that I would give more love, along with the characters in disappointment tier like Hikaru, Hyoma, Rago, etc. Characters like Jenga, Kyoya, Ryuga, Tsubasa, Kenta are the fucking GOAT. Klaus, Rio, the GOAT. And yeah, I mean, that's pretty much it. Let me know what you think in the comments, because I know for a fact some of you guys disagree with me. Rant at me. Roast me. Comment on my hairline. That's pretty much it. Bye-bye.